Avinash, Kalla, for somebody who knows Rajasthan as the back of your hand, what did you make of what the Prime Minister said today? I would reckon if I was going through his speech, other than, of course, raising law and order, making it clear there is no CM face, it's going to be the Lotus, which will be the chief ministerial face for the Bharatiya Janata Party, is what the Prime Minister said. But Mr. Kalla, the biggest would be that we can expect this election to be very high on polarization. You had the Prime Minister invoke the beheading of Kanhaiya Lal. It comes in the wake of Mr. Biduri being given the poll in chargeship of a region like Tonk, a seat like Tonk, which is already seeing massive communal polarization. With what you had mentioned earlier in my show as well, 3 days ago, a Muslim boy is beaten by a mob and not a word from any BJP leader.
Right. As you rightly pointed out, polarization is going to be their main force. And this is another experiment that they are doing. You know, as you rightly mentioned out, since 1998, elections after that, for 25 years, every in an election, there is a chief ministerial face. This time, BJP's party line is not to keep any face. And secondly, Rajasthan is not a state which is very polarizing. You know, we are divided by caste, but by no distance or stretch of imagination, we are a communal state. We are not a communal state. But this time, BJP is upping the ante on that side. Last time also, if you look at elections, earlier in Vasundhara Raje's government, you would, whenever Vasundhara Ji was the face, you would have 8 to 10 Muslim MLAs contesting from the BJP. The BJP would get some minority votes and Muslim MLAs would be made sizable minister. Last time, they could only field one Vasundhara loyalist as a candidate against Sachin Pilot. And I believe he was the last candidate to be announced, Yunus Khan. So that was clearly agenda. And this time also, looking at the way they have worked in 4.5 years, you don't see any Muslim or a minority candidate getting any seat from the BJP. Rightly mentioned, for last 3 days, Jaipur is blocked. You know, the streets are red, but not a word from a party which says law and order is an issue that they have. So they're very selective about their law and order and everything. So polarization, yes, is going to be one of their strong pull. And you rightly pointed out Viduri's appointment. It's not that he will make an impact on Tonk, but that area has got Muslim MLAs standing in from the Congress party, and he generates a sentiment that would polarize votes. And BJP hopes that in that area, they last time could not win a single seat. They only got 1 seat out of 45. So polarization is going to be a mainstay for the BJP, and let's see how it pans out.
Well, interesting. Law and order was something which was also picked up where the Prime Minister took on the Gehlot government, where he went on to give instances of the sheer fact that this year it has been Rajasthan which is #1 where it comes again, where crime against women, the NCRB data is concerned, followed by Madhya Pradesh at #2. Last year it was Madhya Pradesh at #1. But having said that, also Sanju Verma, I'll bring you in because you're shaking your head, you know, with every point that was being raised by Mr. Kalla. But, you know, madam, for a minute, step back and look into it. What else would explain in stating Mr. Biduri, who used the filthiest of language in the parliament, and give him a charge of an area which is basically a communal tinderbox in the last couple of months. Every communal incident that has happened in Rajasthan, or at least a sizable amount of them, have taken place in this particular belt. To make him in charge of that area where it's a huge Muslim population, where Tonk is concerned. In 2018, you would have tried it with a Muslim candidate. This time, it seems you're going the other way, where at least Tonk is concerned. So, one question there. #2, to invoke Kanhaiya Lal's beheading, saying that you are voting for a government do you want incidents like this? #3, there's been an incident where a Muslim boy was beaten up by a mob, and not a word from any BJP local leader in Rajasthan.
Okay. Preeti, good to be on your show after quite a bit. I also want to tell you that, regarding that horrifying story of 24 people dead, including 12 infants, I'm sure, the Chief Minister, Mr. Shinde, and Tanaji Sawant, the Health Minister, will look into your story, and a due probe should be conducted so that the guilty are punished. Coming to your specific query, let me now just say this. And I am not going to be beating around the bush. I'm appalled. And this has nothing to do with Mr. Kalla's statement or, people who want to put BJP in the dockyard and guillotine Ramesh Bidhuri for making the statements that he did. I said it on one of, the earlier shows on India Today with your colleague Rahul Kaval. I don't believe in stereotyping a certain community, be it Muslims, Parsis, Sikhs, what have you, even Hindus for that matter. I think that's the least we can do in the 21st century. We are all educated individuals, at least most of us are. So saying that, ki tum katwe ho, mulle ho.
Can you not use this, madam?
Yes.
Avoid that, please.
Okay.
Avoid that.
Okay. So that language
strangely,
is
for some MPs, it might, work, or it's the language they can use in the parliament. But, ma'am, definitely, I would not allow it in my studio.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. So that language is despicable, to say the least. But I, cannot fathom why is it that when the Lok Sabha Speaker has said categorically that a probe is being conducted and let us find out, doodh ka doodh, pani ka pani hoga. And since Preeti has admonished me that let us not use this kind of language, so let me also remind, Mr. Kalla and many like him who are ready to point a finger at the BJP that is it true that Danish Ali said कि प्रधानमंत्री जो NEECH है उसको वो नहीं बुलाएंगे तो उसको और क्या बुलाएंगे? And let me tell you one more thing. There is such a hue and cry on the fact that a person from the Muslim community was marginalized, beaten up. I also want to draw the attention of people to the recent happening in Sambhal, where 2 teachers and a school principal asked Hindu students to be beaten up by their Muslim classmates. And ये जो सेक्युलरिज्म के सूरमा बने बैठे हैं ना, सेक्युलरिज्म की दुहाई देते हैं, इन सूरमाओं में से किसी एक सेक्युलरिज्म के सूरमा ने संभाल के इंसिडेंट की condemnation नहीं की. Point number 1. Point number 2. When you raise a finger at Mr. Bidhuri, I want to ask how many people ever forget admonishing, even dared. I'm not talking of Preeti, you as a journalist, but I've seen so many journalists through the last couple of years. I've never seen anyone ask pointed questions to Kamal Nath about the fact that 1984 anti-Sikh riots, Kamal Nath did not cover himself in glory. One has to read the Nanavati Commission report to know the gory details. People were saying, "Arey, bahut badhiya hua," when he became the Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh before he was ousted. How many people said to Priyank Khadge, the son of Mallikarjun Khadge, who happens to be the Congress president, when he said, Hinduism के बारे में, सनातन धर्म के बारे में, यदि Udaynidhi Stalin has compared it to dengue, malaria, it is a disease. If he's called it a disease, what's the big deal? Did Mr. Kalla or his likes fret and fume that time? No, it was supposed to be par for the course. So please don't sit here and give a bhashan. ये secularism पर हमको आपसे certificate की जरूरत नहीं है.
Okay, ma'am. Listen.
One last point, Preeti, please. One last point. I'm sorry. You started off with a very, I won't use the word provocative, you asked the right question, but this is, a feisty debate. It's going to be one for the simple reason that I cannot tolerate the hypocrisy when there is a law and a problem in Haryana. Who is, questioned? It is Manohar Lal Khattar. When there is a law and order problem in Assam, you question Himanta Biswa Sarma. When there is a law and order problem in Uttar Pradesh, you are baying for Yogi Adityanath's blood. But when there is a law and order problem in Rajasthan, what do? You try to whitewash it by saying, हुआ तो हुआ, कौन सी बड़ी बात है? अशोक गहलोत जिम्मेदार नहीं है, राहुल गांधी जिम्मेदार नहीं है, प्रियंका वड्रा हुरान स्पीचिंग लड़की हूँ, लड़ सकती हूँ, तो हाथरस, but did not have the time to meet the Alwar gang rape victim and was busy holidaying at Ranthambore when that gang rape in Alwar happened. When somebody asked her, she said, हुआ तो हुआ.
Madam, you made your points.
The gang rapes in Rajasthan.
Okay. Ma'am, you've made your points. I'm going to bring in Salman Soz, but I'm glad you said that this is going to be a feisty debate shown of hypocrisy. But having said that, I'm going to just point out to a couple of things. Where you mentioned the Sambhal incident, ma'am, you're bang on where you say what happened was terrible. Shaista was the teacher in Sambhal who made a Muslim boy slap what could clearly be seen as a reprisal punishment, a Hindu boy. But where we talk about hypocrisy, ma'am, Shaista was immediately arrested. She's behind bars as you and I speak. But an incident which has happened a month and a half ago of Tripta Tyagi, who made a Muslim boy being slapped by a Hindu student. Ma'am, please hear me out. Ma'am, please hear me out. Ma'am, 1 second. Ma'am, if you would allow, can I just, ma'am, please allow me. The parents refused to file a complaint. Do not tell me a suo motu FIR could not be lodged by the police. Very well, it can be something which was said very clearly by the Supreme Court to the government of Uttar Pradesh. Ma'am, the hearing is still on. There is a petition on. So that could have happened. Madam, it's not
parents file a complaint.
Madam, a suo motu complaint could have been lodged by the police. It's something which was said by the top court of this country. Top court of this country has said it, ma'am. Number two. Number two.
You and me to decide.
Ma'am, the top court of the country has said it. You and I are not in question.
But that is in certain cases.
Number two, ma'am, number two. You talk about the word which is NEECH, which was used by Danish, allegedly used by Danish Ali, the BSP MP against the Prime Minister, to what Mr. Biduri could not stand. But having said that, the same word NEECH was used by Mani Shankar Iyer against the Prime Minister, and rightly so. The Congress at that point of time had suspended him. Has Ramesh Biduri been suspended by the BJP? No. The only point I would reckon, senior journalist Mr. Kalla.
Has Priyanka Kharge been suspended, Preeti?
Madam,
Preeti, I am a bit upset now. Please allow me. You made many allegations, Preeti. Preeti, I love coming on your debates, but I have to say this. And I can see you are also getting a bit agitated, which is so untypical of you. If there is indeed a word.
Ma'am, I'm not being agitated. Facts are facts.
Let me now say one thing.
Okay, make your point, then I'll open out the debate. You make your point.
Preeti,
make your point.
You told all through this debate. What did you say? And I have a great memory, just like you have. Please play out your bites till now. We are how many minutes into your program? 22 minutes. You said Ramesh Biduri said. You did not say Ramesh Biduri allegedly said. Whereas you said that Danish Ali allegedly
Madam, because he said we heard him. Because we heard him. We did not hear Danish Ali, so alleged for Danish Ali. Ma'am, come on. You heard him. Okay, ma'am, after the show, I'll send you a video which is now, of course.
Preeti, can I please speak? At least on your show, I'm sure I have FOE.
Madam, you have spoken ad nauseum for 6 minutes. Now,
so
can I open the debate to the Congress panelists with your permission?
Have you condemned what Priyanka Kharge said? That
Ma'am, of course, we did multiple shows on what? Let me say it. Okay, because you want to hear it. Madam, because you want to hear it, let me say it. You're not letting me say it. Because you want to hear it, let me say it, that the language that the junior Stalin used was borderline fascist. Are you... Now, somewhere down the line, is it okay? Borderline fascist, if not fascist.
Was fascist, not borderline fascist, but fascist.